Welcome to the Stretch to Go podcast. My name is Ian Ray, your host. Today I have Nicholas Lee, founder and creator of Pigy Pigy children's shoes, based out of Syracuse, New York. Nick, welcome to the Stretch to Go podcast.
Thanks, and thanks for inviting me for, this is my first podcast. I'm so excited and a little bit nervous for doing that. So yeah, so as you know, my name is Nicholas and I'm a footwear designer based in New York, and I worked in this industry for 15 years across fashion, footwear, and product development. After wearing the barefoot for myself for nearly a year, I started to completely rethink what good footwear should feel like. As a father of two, so that eventually leads me to create Pigy Pigy, a kids barefoot footwear
Okay.
brand.
So what's the name behind Pigy Pigy? Is it just like a play on word just to make it like fun and casual? Like, what's the name behind it?
Because when we start to think about it, what we can do to make something not only just footwear. Yeah, so pig is kind of like easy to and friendly to pronounce, to recognize or memorize, right? And so we are mostly focused on kids and baby barefoot, and it's on natural foot development, everyday comfort and playful design. So we want healthy shoes to also have feel like joyful, stylish, and easy to family to love.
Huh. And so what sizes do they typically would you guys I guess have available? I know you guys are in the works of creating these shoes, but like what sizes are going to be available for the public once it gets released?
So for the beginning, we will only focus on the baby from year 1 to year 6, because we have the Piggy cartoon IP, right? And we we been ask a lot of kids, since they grow up like in 7 or 8, like go to the elementary school. They said, "Oh, this is too not that good for me." But for some children from year 1 to year 6, they kind of like have this kind of like a cartoon
Yeah. No,
things.
for
Mm.
okay. And then I guess as far as for you, like uh who introduced you to barefoot?
Oh, that so it was one of my close friend, Wobby Liang. So you must know him before, and have been working in the barefoot footwear for years and introduced me to this category. So I want to understand it through real experience. So I wore barefoot for myself consistently for nearly a year. Once I adapt to that feeling of nature movement, I found it's very hard to go back and just conventional no shoes. So it's like once you step in, you never can go back. So now I'm wearing barefoot every day. So in the last like 2 years, probably maybe only very few days I don't wear barefoot. Every day I'm wearing my barefoot, and I have a lot of uh, fashion shoes I used to design. I like them, but I hate it when I'm wearing them. It I cannot walk.
Yeah.
Uh,
Your
mm,
feet must have hurt wearing a lot of those designer shoes for sure. um
yeah, yeah. So
and so I guess for you, like how did you get into designing footwear?
oh, so my major is not designing. My major is philosophy.
Okay.
Yeah, I know it sounds like crazy, but but I do like shoes. I don't know. I learned from the handmade shoes in UK. So and Italy. So I used to work for La Ferragamo, and I used working for very traditional handmade shoes. It's not like nowadays. It's just very like common and basic. Just everything just slow. Not like what we have like today. It's so fast. It's trade.
Hmm. So you were
Mhm.
actually like an artisan, like handcrafting shoes, like with machines and like actually creating from blast to actual having a product.
Yes. So when I running in handmade shoes, I always think about why all these kind of handmade shoes, like just I don't want. I want some, something. I always want to bring something different to the existing market. So that's why I was figuring out, how can make the handmade shoes like high fashion, stylish. So yeah, that's what I learned from that. And when I step into the barefoot, also I want to see a lot of existing brands. I said, oh, everyone is play very safe. They don't want to step out and say to be very like unique or different. I said, oh, why not? So if you want to bring some the new inspirations to the market, is always to think something what really matters or behind of the idea, the concept.
So for you creating shoes, is that more like a just like a your passion that you kind of got into where now it's or was it something like you say you love shoes, but like it's become your passion, but now it's like your mission to create the right functional shoes for people, right? For especially kids.
Oh yeah, so that's a story behind that, because I've been working in the industry for like 15 years, and I didn't pay attention to my boys' shoes. And my older son, he also have some ankle problems right now. When my friend Bobby talked to me about that, I said, "Oh my gosh, I how could that happen?" I'm a shoemaker, I'm a shoe designer. How could I miss my boys to have him have a proper healthy shoes in the very beginning. So I was kind of like a regret, I didn't focus or pay attention to it, and so I was okay. I'm gonna try to do something, make it up. Not only for my boys. I want to do something better for all generations. So that brought me step into because I was like, okay, if barefoot is very benefit for our human body or like in the food a movement, so why shouldn't we go from the beginning from the kids? So that's why I step into the kids. I know it's not like if you want to say looking in the business you know perspective, maybe it's not a good choice to do that because our size, is only from year 1 to year 6. It's not
Yeah.
like for
Well, I mean, like those early stages are, I guess, very developmental stages. So like they're still like learning to walk, crawl, and learning about everything about their foot and balancing. So it's important to have, if they were to go outside in the elements, to have at least like a shoe covering. But most times, like walk, learn to walk. But I guess
Mm.
help me to understand too, like seeing your kids because I have kids too, but like seeing your kids, now that you've you know realized the importance of barefoot shoes. Because same here, like 2 years ago, like I only got into barefoot shoes. So like, how important
Mm.
are should parents really get kids into, thin, flexible, wide toe box shoes? Like, how important is that?
Also, it's kind of like we have to build a awareness. So if we want to build awareness through both education and storytelling. So parents are interested in healthy footwear choice, but then they also want to understand the foot development, fit, what really matters in a child shoes. So for us, awareness is not about which which visibility. It's about trust. So I said, it's still it's a long process, because it's not in the trade right now. Because I the big brands we are not talking about how important it's for your uh, how important that the vital the zero job benefit for your feet. So because they don't sell in this kind of product, they sell in like I mean yeah the that's why they stop to like advertising or try to education people. Okay, I think from what I say, we all, not only the kids and our parents, are too much focused on the appearance, the outlooking, so it's always, I think it's not easy to convince, or just takes one shot, get people to understand, oh, how benefit in the barefoot can be help. So I think it's what we in have to working on in a long term.
Yeah, I guess as a societal shoes, is a fashion statement, but they don't see shoes as a critical aspect of longevity. Like so if you're wearing the wrong type of shoe and how that can create an upward effect, from the foot up, and how that can cause
Yeah.
posture or, like I said, like ankle problems. Um,
Uh,
and I think one of those things as parents, like, yeah, we don't think of that how important these shoes are. The barefoot shoes or something that's flexible enough
yeah.
to that so that it can bend and move
Mm.
instead of stiff, rigid soles.
Yeah, exactly. Because the kids, they grow up so fast, right? So they definitely need a proper, and fit and proper size and for the shoes because like running, like climbing, they do everything in the so and in somehow I think it's more important than our adult, right? So it's like I'm gonna I know it's not like a perfect example, but it's like we all know some fast food is not good for health, right? Healthy, but we eat every day. It's same. It goes same to the shoes, right? We know okay, this might be it's good for our health, but if it doesn't look like attractively or it doesn't look like you don't like it, you don't want to try, right? And so you will not get benefit from that. So what I'm thinking about, picky picky. So we want to combine three things together for a barefoot. Just okay, uh, okay, healthy, yeah, and function. It's number one, and we want also stylish. Just have some not just like oh people say oh this is weird. They don't like when they say it first time. So that's why we added like cartoon IP. So inside of the shoes. So then the parents will think, oh, it's fine, it's cool, and the kids or the baby, they love to, especially they love to have some cartoon to it's kind of joyful and playful.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
guess. And then I guess for your shoes that you have come out, because these are just samples that you're graciously being able to send this to me. But I guess what goals, I guess when you're looking at your shoe and the type of shoe that you're going to be creating, what are some of the aspects from your background of shoe design that you're trying to promote and create for your shoes?
So that's like a two part, like that's healthy first, and and that's like child centered. So it's like nature foot shape is respected, and product must feel invited, not uh because you have to be feel like you like it, and movement is allowed, not like over corrected. So character, color, the stories can lower resistance. So and confidence is judged through the child living experience. What I mean saying a healthy product should still feel like childhood. So it's like from the physical behavior, emotion, and become to the culture.
So I guess to kind of summarize everything, what you're kind of make Piggy Piggy just a fun, a way for the parents to make it to where it's fashionable, and then and for kids to recognize that these are like it's pleasing to the eyes, especially like you're saying with some mascots, because yeah, there are brands out there that have just nice colors or nice design, but kids are more attracted to, like you said, logos or something to where it's they recognize, you know, and it's
Yeah.
and so for you guys, I guess for Piggy Piggy, like
Mm,
what are some of
mm.
the models? What is it mostly shoes, boots, sandals? Like what are you guys gonna try to put together?
Oh, we're gonna put some like in birth like we call barefoot sneaker or barefoot boot. So I we will not go for sandals for now. So we just mainly focus on the barefoot sneaker and the boots.
Uh, and then I know you're going to be one of the speakers there at the upcoming Anya's Expo in May in
Mm,
Chicago.
mm,
Um,
yes.
representing NW Unicorn. So kind of explain this. What's your thought process as far as what will you be presenting or showcasing with the time that you have on stage? So give us a sneak peek of what you're going to be talking about. Not the whole thing, but just what's some of your main themes or topics?
Oh, that's that's something that what I was thinking about in very long time. So I want against to the some big brands that why they always leading the trade. When they say it's good, it's it's fashion, it's fashion. So can the barefoot become the next trade for the in the shoe industry? So that's one of my thinking, and we can discuss in the dur- during the exhibition. I think that will be there are a lot of interesting things to discuss. When we think about how can birth to because birth is it's been here for like a decade, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, but it's still like I mean, it's not like we already knew some big brands they already have some category for barefoot, but they are not like take in a big step to move into the barefoot. That's something we was trying to figure out what behind that what why they don't do because if it's benefit for us, why the big brands they don't want to market it.
That's true. Yeah. Like, where do you see the trends of barefoot shoes going in your perspective?
So, sorry, what?
So, where do you see barefoot shoes evolving then in the future?
Oh, I'm very positive. Yeah, I think the barefoot will gonna be the next trend like Nike sneakers. So it just takes time. This is very in the perfect example. Everyone when they were in the barefoot, they cannot go back. They stick with the barefoot, right? So it's kind of like perfect like advertising. So it just takes time and that people more and more people, to know about it, to experience it and to learn it and then change their life. And when the numbers, increase, I think, something will happen. It's like magical. It just need time. It's just like, it won't, happen in one day, but as a lot of like people like us, we were working in the beverage industry. So we have to really think about a big problem. A big question is how you know I mean this is something we're gonna discuss with. So if like one day the chain is become barefoot and the big brands they step into the barefoot. So what's the gameplay for us?
Yeah, no, that's true. Yeah,
Yeah,
because like I guess it's once the big shoe brands do step into the barefoot shoe market and offer more, I guess, styles available, and then they take a piece of that market, then like people who've been in the barefoot market, they're gonna have to like somehow catch up because of the market space that they have with the followers, and so
yeah.
yeah, it's it'll be highly competitive, but but they have years to catch up from the ones who've been here for longest. So I'm interested to hear, I guess, in your perspective too, being a shoe designer. Do most shoe designers know that barefoot shoes is important? It's healthier than what they actually create.
Oh, that's good question. Because as like why I used to design shoes for my brand or my for other brands. So when we design shoes, we don't think about it's gonna be good for your health or not. Honestly, yeah, we don't think about it that way. So we always think about it. It's gonna be it start you know so that's something we are not very focused on the health as a shoe design. So as you can say, if you want to say from the health perspective, so there are so many shares that are not allowed to in the market,
Mhm.
but it's kind of like not it's kind of like psychological question. You cannot just say one's good and the other one is not is bad, right? So and and the people like us, we don't want to be educated by others, right? So everyone will stand for their own opinion. So they think, oh, this is so when you go to like someone like adult, what's the top uh question you will get you buy a shoes or you buy a brand, you will ask. I don't think people will say health will not be the top three. Definitely
Uh-huh.
not. Yeah.
Uh, um, I just had a question too, actually, that popped in my mind. So
Okay.
the NW unicorn, is that like supposed to be meaning Nicholas and Welby unicorn?
Oh yeah, yeah. So that's what we try to we want to become the next unicorn, right? So and we want Picky Picky can be famous as like a Disney,
Mm,
the Hello Kitty, right? That that's something I want thinking about how to build up the business mode. Because okay, if you want only talking about the shoes, it's it's like you don't have a lot of advantage to the existing market. You just and we are new to the the barefoot shoe industry, and we're not a big brands. We don't have a lot of like a audience or users. So what I'm thinking about is we have to bring something like mix up and become new. So I was thinking about yeah, because the IP things it's not just for product, right? It's about like full image, like the story. I even think about we're gonna have a Piggy Piggy zone like like Disney, like, and we're gonna have the Piggy Piggy like in the cartoon movie, in the music, right? Everything, and so it's a lot of work. So that's why I'm more like why I think about some things I will jump up a lot of things together. So to try to say how far we can go. I'm not like just narrow my word and stuff like that. Yeah, just open it up and say how big dream we can dream.
hey man, the sky's the limit for sure.
Mm. Yeah. Yes, guys. Remember it.
So from the time, so basically, when are you guys hoping to project to get this out? At least like at least a model or where people can start, you know, pre-ordering or looking at some samples. What are you trying to do? Like next year, this year, or soon as possible?
Oh, so we already have our fast collection sample finished, but we will try to stay to text to send to some uh parents for their children to test. Once we get the feedback, and we were thinking about should we go start from that? Because I know for the baby shoes for the kids shoes, we are very serious about how they really feel. It's not like oh, I like it. It's so cute, and it's not just that. We want to say how you know the if how when they really were in our shoes for like a couple months, or they think okay, that really helps the baby or help the children. So hopefully we can launch more product to the existing market by next year. So this year will be our just testing the market. We already have the samples, and we all have And so for me, design shoes is the most easy part. But how to market it, and I mean, marketing is like we want to provide some value, not just like oh, we are trying to tell people a great story. Yeah. So this is very serious. Yeah.
So, yeah, I guess kinda, like, walk through us, like, 'cause, smaller brand, obviously, the struggle of trying, like I said, trying to get a piece of the market and get awareness. What are some things that you have done besides getting, parents to try these on kids? Like, what other ways are you guys trying to create more awareness and exposure for the brand?
Oh, that's very good question because that's kind of like the missing part of our team right now. We are looking for someone who's talented in doing like in the marketing kind of stuff, so that we can move on. So yeah, but what we can do for now, we just try to make our designs more durable in the function, joyful, stylish, everything combined together, and then we think about how to market this. That's not I'm not good at this part. Yeah,
No
and
worries.
actually,
I
yeah,
I'm sure you guys will find someone that will help you guys, get the name out and, of course, market and advertise for Piggy Piggy 'cause, there's gotta be someone in your network for sure, like, that can guide you
yeah,
along.
yeah, yeah. That missing part will be the make us become a unicorn.
Yeah.
Yeah. So now it's only NW. So we are waiting for someone to join us and then become one piece, right?
Well, in closing, where can my followers and listeners learn more about what you guys are doing? So if you want to share with the audience, emails, website, or social that they can follow and kind of learn more, or any ways that they can interact, keep an eye out for, your guys' upcoming releases that you have for kids' shoes. So what are some information or ways that people can interact and find out more?
So I'm not, very, good at it, like social media kind of stuff. But yeah, do we have like my personal Instagram is with Nick D USA, and yeah, and website will be nickdusa.com. So yeah, if you like, just follow us on that, and I will, post some, you can check, what I have done in the past for the fashion shoe design industry. Yes. And for the Picky Piggy, we are still thinking about how we gonna, promote it. Yeah.
Yeah, because I think you guys do have an Instagram, for Piggy Piggy, right? I think it's like at Piggy
Yes.
Piggy or something.
We have it, but we haven't to post a lot of scenes because we still figure out how to get it work. I don't know. It's one way. I'm not good at like this kind of media stuff. Trying to find the right person to doing that part. Then once it goes, we can consistently to post more like our videos and photos. Yeah.
Okay, well, I guess in the meantime, they'll have to just follow your account, and then, of course, you'll probably share with us more, at the Anya Expo coming up on May 16th,
Yeah.
17th. Yeah, man, I'm
Yeah. Yeah. Looking forward.
looking
Yeah.
forward
Me
to
too.
hearing what you
Thanks
say.
for. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Thank you. All right. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Mm, all right.